we each have someone in our minds that made a big difference to us, a teacher that gave us a sense of what we were capable of doing. And I thought to thank a couple in my life way too late for my liking. So that we pause now and give this opportunity, I think, is a wonderful tradition. So to lead us tonight, I would like to invite Dr. Tim Boyd, our Associate Head of School and Academic Dean, to the podium. Welcome, Tim.
So good afternoon. It's great to see so many of you here today, and it is, as Dr. Daughtry has said, a wonderful occasion because it is an opportunity for so many people to say thank you to people who have been a great influence on their lives. I wanted to begin by saying a few brief words of welcome to you all and to say a little bit about the school's perspective on this event. After I've spoken, you're going to hear from a couple of students at various stages of their MBA careers who will tell you why they are grateful to the teachers they have had over the years. But what I wanted to do before they speak is say a word of thanks on behalf of the MBA faculty for all that you have done. The influence of a good teacher can manifest itself in a vast number of different ways, and I want to share two examples of that from some experiences that I've had here, one from early in my time at MBA, the second from just a few months ago. So I first came to MBA as a teacher in 2010. Then, as now, I taught European history, which may not surprise me if you've been listening to me so far. About 10 days into my high school teaching career, it was time for my first parents' night at MBA, and having just about memorized the names of the 60-odd students I was teaching, that would leave me with 4 short, 7-minute windows to explain myself and my class to the parents. And as you might be able to imagine, I was also fairly nervous in my rookie year about doing and saying the right thing, and I expect that many of even the most experienced and distinguished teachers in the room would remember a certain anxiety the first time you have to answer the question, so what exactly do you do, to a room full of parents? Now, as a side note, I'm actually very glad that my first night I avoided the experience of a veteran teacher still at MBA who shared with me once that for his first parents' night he found himself running late, driving down West End Avenue trying to get to school, and a woman in a BMW cut him off trying to make a left turn, and he responded with what we might call a highly expressive hand gesture before hurrying into the parking lot, made it just in time, puts his jacket on, rushes into the classroom for his first period class, and she is sitting there with a name tag identifying her as the mother of one of his star students. So nothing that distressing happened to me. In fact, what happened at first seemed to be just the opposite. So at the end of one of these sessions, a parent came up to me and said, I just wanted to thank you and let you know that this is Jack's favorite class. And my ego immediately began to swell. There were at least 3 Jacks in my classes, though I couldn't help but notice that none of them had the same name as the person on this mother's name tag. Yes, she said, he just loves American history, which, again, I'll admit, sounded odd, but I thought maybe in her enthusiasm she had just misspoken. He especially likes that hilarious accent you do when you do historical impersonations, she added. And I will concede, my accent may have sounded a little unfamiliar, but hilarious seemed harsh, and I really don't do any impersonations in class or anywhere else, honestly, for that matter. As it turned out, of course, her son was not in any of my classes, not in the right grade to be in my class, nor was he in the classroom, nor was the classroom we were in the one he took his history classes in. I was getting the credit for the fun that this student was having in Dr. Clay Bailey's US history class, which was in the room next door. But I think the lesson here is we all benefit and can sometimes end up gaining from the impact another teacher has on a student. The second incident happened last spring during the course registration process that I oversee as academic dean. Like all teachers here, I have a student advisory that I see every day, and one member of that advisory approached me in April and said, "Do you have any influence over which teacher someone gets assigned?" And I said, "Well, yes, but we have to be kind of careful about that." He said, "Because I'm taking European history next year, and I was hoping to be with a specific teacher," and again, familiar, ego swelling, and so on. "Yes, go on." He said, "Well, is there any chance I can be in Dr. Van Zandt's class?" And my response was, you do realize that I teach European history? And he said, "Yes." So, while one of these incidents was flattering and the other was less so, both nicely speak to a set of phenomena that are inescapable, I think, in education. In the first case, again, very often it is another teacher who reaps the benefits of what the first teacher has done. And in the second, that we should frankly celebrate any time a student develops a close bond with a particular teacher that makes them want to be taught by them again, regardless of the damage to one's own sense of self. So the second of these features is what the boys are demonstrating by nominating you as the influential teachers in their lives. The first is what I want to say thank you for on behalf of MBA. It is, after all, an old saying that a bad workman blames his tools, but one might equally ask, how often does any kind of workman thank the person who has laid the foundations? And the boys you send us are already in great shape, and our job becomes both easier and tremendously more enjoyable as a result. We get to guide them through the final 4 or 6 years of their schooling, and it's important that we do that well. But every time we get to see an exceptional student walk across the stage at his high school graduation, we need to remember that much of this is due to the foundations he was given by all of you. As such, this evening should be an occasion not just for the boys to say thank you, but for their future teachers to say thank you as well. Now, a couple of students new to MBA are going to speak next. We have Tyler Adair from the 7th grade and Ethan Shockley from the 9th grade. And following that, we're going to hear a piece of music performed by one of our new 7th graders, George Saloom. Incidentally, I've discovered that George's brother is being taught by the same violin teacher who our 4-year-old daughter has just started lessons with, and she is unfortunately not able to be here to perform today. So if your favorite piece of music happens to be a loosely recognizable section of some parts of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I'm afraid you're out of luck, but I'm sure you're going to greatly enjoy what George has to perform for you instead. Once we are done with the program in here, the boys who taught you, I wanted to thank you by inviting you here, will show you both the MBA library where some books have been placed in your honor. They've each had a book placed in your honor, and there'll also be a reception in the main lobby outside the dining hall for the next hour or so after the program concludes. So please stay and enjoy that for as long as you like. So thank you again for all that you've done for these boys. Thank you for coming to MBA today. I'm going to invite Tyler to come up next, and I hope you all enjoy your evening.
Hello, my name is Tyler Adair. As my influential teacher, I chose Miss Bray. She was my 3rd grade teacher, and I went at Percy Priest. I chose her to write a letter to her. Dear Miss Bray, thank you so much for being the best teacher I've ever had. You are so nice and kind to me. I remember that you made learning fun and exciting. I remember all the great books we read, like The Wild Robot and Bob. It was such a joy to have you as my teacher. You helped me learn that reading was fun. I was so mad that we didn't get to finish the school year because of COVID. Another memory was when you taught me how to do the trick with multiplying 9s with the fingers. I was so amazed and thought that it was so cool. Every day, I was so excited to come to school. You helped me when I needed it, and you always were there for me. You inspired to work hard at everything. You inspired me to work hard at everything, and to be kind to everyone around me. Thank you so much for teaching me and making me the best person I can possibly be. From Tyler.
Hello. My name is Ethan Shockley. My influential teacher was Miss Joyce Platts. Miss Platts was one teacher I looked forward to having ever since I met her at Sumner Academy during my kindergarten year. She has a wonderful reputation. At the time, she taught 4th grade science, and she loved it. She used to play Legos in her class, and I loved Legos. Of course, the Legos were for science and learning, not just to mess around with. I knew we were going to make a great team. When I finished the 3rd grade, I was super excited to have her the next year. But then she was moved up to teaching middle school. I was devastated. By the time I was in 6th grade, she was teaching 7th and 8th grade classes. In the grades coming up to 7th and 8th grade, I had struggled with literature because I'm a math and science guy. Figuring out the deeper meaning of what the writer was trying to say was a struggle. I took everything at face value. In her literature class, Ms. Platts really helped me figure out how to dive into the deeper meaning of the books. She also helped me figure out how to create symbolism in my writing. One of my weakest areas in writing was my conclusions. She took extra time to help me learn how to write better conclusions. Not only is Miss Platts a gifted literature teacher, she's also a gifted math teacher. I was lucky enough to have her for both Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. She made learning fun, even the hard math lessons. We were always able to find something to laugh about. I've had many great teachers over my school years, but Miss Platts was by far my favorite. I found myself making my way into her classroom just to hang out and talk about everyday things. Miss Platts is an amazing teacher, and I am so thankful I got to spend 2 years in her classroom. But even more than being an amazing teacher, Miss Platts is my friend.